weekly plunge into fish keeping. Welcome to the Aquarium Hour.
Hello everyone, I'm Maria Garcia, and I'm thrilled to be here today talking about one of the most misunderstood aquarium species, the beautiful betta fish. I've been keeping bettas for 15 years, and let me tell you, watching these personalities develop is better than any reality TV show.
Hey there, Mike Sullivan here. Been maintaining aquariums for, well, longer than I'd like to admit. Seen just about every betta setup you can imagine, from the tiny cups at pet stores to some seriously impressive planted palaces.
Oh Mike, those cups! It breaks my heart every time I see them. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that bettas are meant to live in tiny spaces just because they can survive in them temporarily.
Exactly right. Just because they can survive doesn't mean they should. I always tell people, think about it like this. You could technically live in a closet, but would you want to? These fish need at least 5 gallons to truly thrive.
5 gallons minimum. And let's talk about what goes in that tank. I've seen so many setups with nothing but plastic plants and a ceramic castle. Bettas are intelligent, curious creatures who need enrichment. Real plants, hiding spots, maybe even some leaf litter to simulate their natural habitat.
Speaking of natural habitat, let me tell you about a customer who came in thinking rice paddies meant their betta would be happy in an inch of water. I have to explain that in the wild, these fish inhabit deep, heavily vegetated waters during the non-breeding season.
That's such a common misunderstanding. And while we're myth-busting, can we talk about temperature? I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, bettas don't need heaters, because they're tropical fish that can adapt to any temperature.
Oh boy, don't get me started on the temperature myths. These are tropical fish, folks. They need consistent temperatures between 76 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything lower, and you'll see their metabolism slow down, their immune system weaken.
Exactly. And when it comes to setting up their perfect home, filtration is another crucial element. Though we should mention that bettas don't love strong currents. I actually had one particularly dramatic betta who would give me the most accusatory looks whenever the filter flow was too high.
Ha! Those looks. I swear bettas have mastered the art of fish guilt trips. But you're right about the filtration. I usually recommend a sponge filter or adjustable HOB filter. Just baffle the output if it's too strong. And make sure to cycle the tank before adding the fish. That's non-negotiable.
Oh, absolutely. The nitrogen cycle is so important. I actually keep a little diagram near my tanks to explain it to visitors. Ammonia to nitrites to nitrates. It's like a tiny underwater recycling system.
And while that cycle's establishing, folks can be gathering their plant choices. I'm a big fan of Indian almond leaves in betta tanks. Not only do they look natural, but they release beneficial tannins that can help reduce stress and boost immune systems.
The tannins make such a difference. Though I always warn people that their water might look a bit tea-colored. But that's actually more natural for bettas than the crystal clear water many expect. What about substrate choices, Mike? Oh. I've found that darker substrates often help bring out their colors.
Definitely agree on the darker substrate. I usually recommend a fine gravel or sand. Makes it easier to grow plants too, which, let's be honest, once you start with plants, it's hard to stop. Before you know it, you've got a jungle tank with one very happy betta ruling over their domain.
Speaking of happy bettas, let's talk about their personalities. Each one is so unique. I had this one male betta, Sebastian, who would actually play hide and seek with me during feeding time. He'd peek out from behind plants, dart back and forth. It was adorable.
That's what gets people hooked on bettas, their personalities. They actually recognize their owners, come when called. Well, when food is involved at least, but they're not always friendly with their own kind. The whole fighting fish reputation isn't completely undeserved.
True, though female bettas can sometimes live in sororities if you have enough space and hiding spots. But it's definitely not for beginners. Dynamics. The dynamics can be, well, let's just say it's like managing a very dramatic underwater reality show.
And speaking of drama, let's talk about feeding. I've seen so many overweight bettas because people don't realize they don't need 3 huge meals a day. A few quality pellets twice daily is plenty, maybe with some frozen or live foods as treats.
Oh, yes, and variety is so important in their diet. I like to alternate between high-quality pellets, frozen bloodworms, and Daphnia. Just have to be careful not to overfeed, especially with freeze-dried foods that can expand in their stomachs.
You know what? After all these years, I still get excited seeing a properly set up betta tank when you do it right. Good sized tank, proper heating and filtration, live plants, appropriate decorations with no sharp edges. These fish absolutely thrive. It's like watching them transform from cup to castle, literally.
That transformation is incredible. From those sad little cups to a lush planted paradise. Watching their colors intensify, their personalities emerge, their fins unfurl. It's what makes this hobby so rewarding. And really, isn't that what it's all about? Creating an environment where these magnificent fish can truly flourish and show us their full potential.
Thanks for swimming with us on the Aquarium Hour. Until next time.